That's at the Tallinn plunge?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. Congratulations.
How much money did we
Mike,
get? How much money did we get
Why
from
does
all
she
of them?
always
Do you
say
know how
that?
much money we got?
I don't know for all of them. No, I don't know that number off the top of my head.
And also,
Did we
Mike,
did we raise a lot of money for that?
hello,
I
Mike.
Hey,
I sent over to Debbie a really a,
Look,
fa-
Mike.
a fantastic spotlight all about
All right,
me.
Robin.
Mike,
Yeah. Okay, you guys, we got 1 minute. Here comes Brandon. We got a couple more people joining us, so I just want to give
Robin,
everybody a
did you get
chance.
my Robin, did you get my flowers?
Did I get your what?
Flowers from the play. I bought you
Yes,
flowers.
I did. Thank you very much.
I wanted,
I
Oh,
appreciated
congratulations,
that.
Robin.
I wanted to
I'm
make sure you
still a bit
flowers.
in recovery
Fire.
Love
mode
your
from
kitty,
everything.
Robin. It's so
Got 'em.
cute.
Hi, Robin.
Got my
Thanks,
flowers.
Birdie. That's
Okay,
my
we still
birdie
have
bird.
more people joining.
Fire.
Oh, you don't want to be
Here
nice.
comes
You don't want to show
Matthew
your
and
face.
Kimberly.
Okay, I'm
you're
ready to
really
make
good.
We
Okay, go
got
bye
it,
bye.
Megan.
Hey,
I like
Logan.
the
So we
I
had
did a wonderful
$86
job in the
plungers
play.
and $15,000
Thank you very much.
at Tallinn.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah.
How much, Debbie? How much did we
Over
get?
15,000.
Matthew is on
15,000
his
from
way.
the penguin lunch.
Yep.
Mike,
a
are
lot
you
of
coming
money
to
we
see me
raised.
compete this year?
What's up?
I'm be at summer games. I don't know if I'll get to see all 2,000 of you compete, but I will do my best.
I'm gonna
How
be
about
at
you,
track and
Christy?
field. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
at track
my
and field
yard.
event.
Yep.
My yard.
Christy,
Debbie
you're
on left.
muted.
All right,
Yeah.
it's 4
Mike.
o'clock, you guys. So we're going to get started, okay? Thank you all for being here today. We got 27 people on the call. It's fantastic. So
And my milk.
I am going to turn it over to Natasha, and she is going to introduce our special guest. So Natasha, if you would take it away, please.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. I am going to introduce Paul Fein, lives in Philadelphia. Oh, no, Pennsylvania. She grew up in Hamden, Connecticut, and is a graduate of Hamden High School.
Somebody's talking. You don't want to interrupt.
Paula works for a research and media company in Philadelphia, but she mostly loves to bake. Paula spent 2 years working as a pastry chef at a five-star French restaurant in Philadelphia. She also worked as a cake decorator at Whole Foods in Philadelphia. We have one in over in Avon, Canton. And it's different from you. Thank you. She's excited to be baking banana bread for us today. Welcome aboard. Thank you.
So much. Thank you. I'm just going to pin my screen so that I can make sure I can see myself. Thank you. And I'm going to move to the back of my kitchen so you can see me. So thank you for having me. It's a little bit emotional for me because the reason I'm with you is because my mom passed away last year. And sometimes when bad things happen, good things come from that too. So the fact that I'm here with you all today and I get to use with you is something that makes me very happy. And even though I lost my mom, I'm very happy to be here, and I wouldn't have been here if it weren't for that. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm just gonna grab an apron because I forgot to get one.
Debbie, we should have everybody mute themselves.
Yeah, I've been going around muting if they're not muted, so.
I just did already, Mike. You're good.
Okay, so today I'm going to be baking banana bread, and banana bread is something that you can have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I really like this recipe because it doesn't require a lot of equipment, and it's fairly simple to make. And I've made it many, many times, and I hope that you will too. So One thing that's very important about baking is that you have to be very careful about how you measure your ingredients. When you cook things, if you put an extra bit of this or an extra bit of that, it doesn't really matter. If the recipe says put in a half a cup of carrots and you put in 3/4 of a cup of carrots, it's probably not going to matter that much. But when you're baking, every little bit matters, because if you put too much of something or too little of something, your final product can turn out very different and not the way you expect it to. So it's very important when you're baking to make sure that you measure your ingredients very carefully. The other thing that I want to tell you is that before you start any project in the kitchen, you need to get out all your ingredients and all your equipment so that when it comes to actually making it, you're not running around looking for anything. This is what is called in a French restaurant, it's called mise en place. You get everything in place. So it ends up making a lot of mess and you end up, with many bowls to clean. But it guarantees that you're not going to forget an ingredient and that every ingredient is going to be measured correctly and added to your final dish. Okay, so the other thing when you're cooking, always, whether you're baking or you're cooking, you should always have what I call a trash bowl. It's just something that you can use to put the things that you don't need or the extra pieces that end up becoming trash. You don't want to be dealing with going to your trash can and all of that while you're in the middle of your project. So always keep a trash bowl handy. So today I have all the ingredients for our banana bread set up. I bought bananas 2 weeks ago so they could get nice and overripe. They look pretty brown and very, very ripe. That means that they have a lot of natural sugars in them. That's going to make our banana bread taste sweet. And we're going to get started. So the first thing that we're going to do when you start a recipe is you read through the whole recipe from the beginning to the end. I'm not going to do that now because I've already done it, but you're going to read the whole recipe all the way through and you're going to collect all your ingredients. So this recipe calls for flour, it calls for whole wheat flour, it calls for salt, it calls for baking powder, it calls for sugar, it calls for shredded coconut.
Okay.
It calls for 1 stick of butter, which I have in this bowl. It calls for 2 eggs, which I have in this bowl. It calls for 3 ripe bananas, which I already showed you. It calls for a half a cup of buttermilk. And it calls for a teaspoon of vanilla and a half a cup of chopped walnuts. So before we start actually baking everything, I'm going to make sure that all of those ingredients are measured perfectly into each of their little bowls. And that way, when it comes to putting everything together, we don't have to be putting things together and measuring at the same time. So first it says to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So give me 1 second. Okay, my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Then it says to grease an 8-inch square baking pan. I like to cook banana bread in a square baking pan like this. So when you cut it, you get a little square instead of a slice like a loaf. This is the way my mom did it, and it reminds me of her. And it also is a little bit more elegant to put a piece of bread, a banana bread that's a square on a plate versus a slice. To me, I just think that looks a little prettier. So we're going to grease the 8-inch square pan with some butter. So before I came on, I washed my hands very thoroughly. And actually, I should have said that first. Before you do any cooking project, you should make sure that your hands are clean. Your hands are your very best tool. So I'm going to take some butter and put it in the baking pan. And then I'm going to use my fingers to grease it because, again, nothing is quite as adept at getting everything greased as your fingers. You can try and do it with wax paper or something else, but I'm a fan of the finger method. Okay. So here you can see my pan is nice and greased. Now my hands are filthy, so give me 1 second. I'm just gonna wash them off. Okay. So let's go through the list of ingredients. We need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So here is my flour. And we need 1.5 cups. So this is a 1 cup measure, and this is a 1/2 cup measure. When you're measuring dry ingredients, things that are dry, you always use measuring cups that look like this. The measuring cups that look like this are for liquid ingredients, things that are wet, like the buttermilk or oil or water, or anything, regular milk or juice. When you feel something is wet, you use this kind of measuring cup, and when something is dry, you use this kind of a measuring cup. So we need to get 1.5 cups of the flour into our bowl, and we just measure it by shaking a little bit of it into the measuring cup. You don't want to dip it in and scoop it up because you'll get too much flour in your measuring cup. So there's that. I have this handy dandy little tool, and I'm going to make sure it's exactly a 1/2 cup. And we're going to put it in my bowl. I'm sorry, that was the 1 cup measure. So that's exactly 1 cup. And now we're going to add another 1/2 cup. So it's 1.5 cups altogether. That's the way you measure properly, with a sort of a light hand. If you scoop it up like this, and then you use this tool to make it flat, you end up with way too much flour in your cup. So you want to measure it. Oh, see, look how much came out. There's so much in there. You want to make sure that you put it in there gently. Okay, that's 1.5 cups of flour. We need 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour, which is in here. We use that same 1/2 cup measure. We're going to gently pour the whole wheat flour into the cup. This is just 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour. We're going to use my handy dandy little tool to make it flat. And we're going to add that into the other flour. Okay. Now we need 1 teaspoon of salt. Here's my 1 teaspoon measure. If you want to be really, really accurate, you would use this tool to make sure it's just 1 teaspoon. And I'm going to put that in its own little bowl. We're going to keep the salt separate for now. Then we need 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Here's baking powder. And I have a little bowl just for the baking powder. 1.5 teaspoons, that's 1 teaspoon. And 1/2 teaspoon to make it 1.5 teaspoons. This has a handy dandy little tool in here that you can use to flatten it out right in the container. And then we need 1/2 plus 1/4 a cup of sugar. So let's get that. My sugar. We're going to use the same 1/2 cup measure. If anybody has allergies to flour, you shouldn't be dunking your flour thing in your sugar, but no one in my family does. So we need 1/2 cup of sugar and then another 1/4. Sugar you can pick up like this because it's heavy by itself. It's not light like flour. So this is 1/2 cup of sugar. And we need 1/4 cup of sugar to make it 3/4 cup altogether. I actually forgot the 1/4 cup measure. Here is another 1/4 cup of sugar. Going in the sugar bowl. Okay, we're almost there. We need 1/2 cup of unsweetened shredded coconut. So that is over here. And we're going to put the 1/2 cup of that coconut into this bowl. Okay, that's 1/2 cup of coconut. All right, those are all of our dry ingredients. Now we're going to get our wet ingredients ready. The recipe calls for 1 stick of butter at room temperature, so it should be a little bit soft when you touch it. So this is 1 stick of butter going into the bowl. Butter. 2 eggs, those should also be at room temperature. We're going to put those in their own bowl as well. And now we have these eggshells and this wax paper. Those are going to go into our trash bowl. Because we don't want to deal with that now, we're just going to put it in our trash bowl. Okay, extra butter, we don't need that. We need 3 ripe bananas mashed with a fork. So here are our bananas. We're going to put those into their own bowl. Wow, this is a mushy banana. That's going to be super sweet. And these can go, the peels can go into the trash bowl. Okay, that's 3 bananas. Those are supposed to be mashed with a fork. So I'm going to take a fork. And they're so soft, they should mash up really nicely and easily right in our bowl here. If you have a potato masher, you can use it. It will be a little quicker, but then it's one more thing you have to wash. I'm just using a fork. And your bananas should be really, they should look almost like applesauce when you're done. Can you see what it looks like? It looks kind of like applesauce. It should be really mushy and a little bit smooth. It's okay if there are a few chunks in there, but try and get it as smooth as you can with your fork. Oh, I just hear my oven is ready. I preheated. I'm also going to use this fork just to cook the eggs a little bit so that you don't have to do that later. Just a little bit to make sure that they're combined. Okay, we need 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Here's the buttermilk. Here's our liquid measuring cup. And I'm going to pour this in until it hits the 1/2 mark. That's perfect. That's 1/2 cup of buttermilk. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Here's my vanilla. It's going to go in our own bowl because we don't know where it belongs. We're just going to put it in here for now. This is the vanilla. When you watch cooking shows on TV, someone has already done all of this and put all the things into little bowls for the person who's going to come and make it for you. And so they just have to come on and say, oh, this is so easy. You just do this and this and this and this. But someone had to go to all the trouble of measuring out each of those ingredients and putting it in its own little bowl. And then the last ingredient we have is a half a cup of chopped walnuts. Here are some walnuts. Here is my half a cup measure. I'm going to measure half a cup of walnuts. It doesn't have to be, you can have a few extra walnuts in your banana bread. It's not really gonna make a big difference. Oh, there's just a little bit left there. I may as well just go for it. It'll be a little extra walnutty, but I did say before you shouldn't, you have to measure your ingredients carefully. The walnuts doesn't count. Okay, so I'm just gonna chop these very roughly with a knife so that nobody gets a big chunk of walnut when they're biting into their banana bread. But it doesn't have to be kind of very fine. You can see this kind of looks like, I don't know what it looks like. It's just chopped, they look almost like peanuts. And this is gonna go into its own little bowl. So now I'm going to read through the recipe and make sure that I haven't forgotten. I'm gonna put this in my trash bowl, which found its way into my sink somehow, but you know, here's my trash bowl with all the things in it. Got the banana peels, the egg shell, all the things that we don't need anymore are in the trash bowl. And now I'm gonna read through the recipe and make sure there's nothing that I forgot. Flour, wheat flour, salt, baking powder, sugar, coconut, butter, eggs, bananas, buttermilk, vanilla, and walnuts. We're all ready to go. Our mise en place is finished. I'm going to take this out of my way. Now the fun part. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cream the butter. So this is the butter. I have a hand mixer here, but you can also do this with a fork if you feel like working hard. I'm going to let electricity work for me. And I'm just gonna mix this up with this for a little bit until it gets nice and smooth with my hand mixer. Okay, done. I don't want to miss all that butter, so I'm just going to use my fingers to get some of that off so that our cake, banana bread isn't missing any of its butter. If this was frosting, I would let somebody lick it, but nobody really wants to lick butter. Okay, just gonna grab a paper towel. And then it says, in another bowl, mix together all your dry ingredients. So this was the two flours. This was our regular flour and our whole wheat flour that I mixed in this bowl. And now we're going to add all the other dry ingredients. The salt, which was in this bowl. This is a bunny bowl. I call this a bunny bowl in my house because it has little bunnies on it. I have lots of these bowls. I use them all the time. That was the salt. This is the baking powder. This is the sugar. And this is the unsweetened coconut. So we didn't have to measure anything while we were mixing it. It was all there ready, waiting for us. I'm going to use a whisk to make sure that all the dry ingredients are blended together nicely. Now we're going to work with the wet ingredients. We've got our butter, which we creamed. We've got 2 eggs. These are the 2 eggs that we just blended a little bit before. We've got 3 ripe bananas. We've got a 1/2 cup of buttermilk. One teaspoon of vanilla in another bunny bowl. Half a cup of walnuts, which aren't really wet ingredients, but we're going to add that into this bowl as well. So we're going to mix this up. Make sure everything in here is mixed together well. It's kind of lumpy because of the butter and the walnuts, but that's okay. You can just mix it with a spatula for a little bit and try and get out some of the lumps, but it's all going to end up blending together in the oven anyway. So in the end, your dry ingredients should look like this, and your wet ingredients should look like this. So when you have wet ingredients and dry ingredients, you always want to add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. You don't add the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. So we're going to take our dry ingredients and we're going to try and make a little hole in the middle. It's called a well to put the wet ingredients in. The wet ingredients are going to end up taking up more space than that, but it's okay. So we're going to put the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Make sure you get it all out. Don't want to miss anything. And then I'm just going to use a spatula to blend this together. You don't want to mix this too much because your bread is going to be dense and kind of chewy. The objective here is to mix it just enough so that all the dry ingredients are incorporated, but not so much that everything looks like toothpaste. So I'm just going to fold it over with my spatula. Just fold it over and fold it over, and then you can turn your bowl a little bit and fold it over and fold it over and turn the bowl a little bit, and then just keep doing this until all the flour disappears. All the dry ingredients disappear. So you can see now there's still some of the dry ingredients you can see in there. We want to just keep mixing it, fold it over, turn the bowl, fold it over, turn the bowl until, oh wow, that was a big chunk of dry ingredients got flipped up with that one. So we want to make sure that all the dry ingredients are incorporated, but not too much because then your cake is gonna, your banana bread is gonna be kind of chewy. Okay, that's it. This is what the final batter should look like. We're gonna take our greased pan and we're going to gently pour this into the pan. Now you can just use like a knife. It's like a regular table knife. I have a handy dandy little tool called an offset spatula. You don't really need that. To smooth out the top and make sure that the batter reaches all the corners of your pan. Okay. It's all smooth. This is what it looks like. I'm going to go and put it in my oven. And I set a timer for an hour. It takes between 55 minutes and an hour and 5 minutes for it to bake. That was exactly for an hour. I set my timer. And because this is trying to be a cooking show, I already baked one so that you could see what it was going to look like when it's finished.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So this is a banana bread that I baked this morning. And I have it on a rack, drying on a rack. So you can see what it looks like when it's done. So I'm going to cut into it for us. Unfortunately, I can't give you any, but you can at least see what it looks like. All right. Some people like the corner. I don't. So I'm going to take the next piece in. And this is what the final product looks like. I think it looks nicer on a plate than a slice from a loaf, but either one works well. And I'll bring it a little bit closer. You can see the texture.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
All right, now I get to eat it.
Well, Paula, you've passed your audition for the Food Network.
Huh? Yes, she did.
That looks delicious.
Ah,
Aw, she should teach me how to cook. I need to learn a recipe like that.
My mouth is chewing.
Yeah.
well,
You know
thank you
you can
so
cook that.
much, Paula. I mean, would you be open to answering some questions if our global messengers have those for you?
Of course.
Is there anybody that has any questions for Paula or any comments? Carly, go ahead.
How come your recipe says to add the wet ingredients to the dry when some recipes might say to do the opposite, but then doing a little of the dry ingredients at a time to the wet?
Well, it depends. That's actually an excellent question. It's easier to fold dry into wet than it is to fold wet into dry.
Yeah.
Done it many times, you'll see both ways that it works better when you fold the dry into the wet.
Yeah.
Sometimes your wet ingredients are made of something that is fluffy, like beaten egg whites. Then you need to break it up you can't do it all at once. You have to do it in parts. So maybe that's what you're referring to, is that sometimes
Because I know when I make frosting for cakes and cupcakes, it says to do a little of the dry ingredients to the wet at a time.
Right. That's also because sometimes when there's a lot of powdery things,
Yeah.
that all at once, you're going to end up looking like a ghost when you turn on your mixer and all the powdered sugar.
Yeah, I've had that happen when I did that the first time and told myself, oh, it's little at a time.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I bake a lot too.
Yes.
Great. Thanks, Carly. I see a couple hands up. Why don't we go to Remy next? Go ahead, Remy.
Well, I actually really enjoy watching you doing all that baking. but I was wondering if you were to have your own baking show, what would you call it?
Or if I had my own baking show, what would I call it?
Yeah.
I'd call it Paula Pastries.
Ooh.
Nice. That was a great question, Remy. Thanks for that. Let's go over to Allie. Go ahead, Allie.
Do you have a favorite recipe or something that you enjoy baking the most?
Well, I have to say it is my banana bread. That's why I
Because
chose
I'm learning how to
you.
cook myself too. So that way, when I have my own place, I can develop my own recipes.
You can. It's
Y-
you have to end up baking things lots and lots of times until you get the perfect match. But
Right.
besides banana bread, I do really enjoy baking cakes. And my dad,
Oh,
who's
okay.
on the Zoom call with us today, will agree that I have baked some very nice cakes for him.
My friend is teaching me how to cook and bake. I used to see her quite a bit, but since my mom had surgery, I haven't been doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Allie. Let's everybody say hi to Paula's dad. Julian, there he is.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
I'm glad you're with us today. Thank you for joining.
Hello.
Bye.
Oh,
How you doing, Paul? How you doing? What's up,
not yet.
Excellent. More questions. The hands keep going up. Go ahead, Matthew.
I want to ask Paula, do you use a kickstand mixer to mix everything together?
A stand mixer is an excellent tool, but not everybody has one. So I tried today, especially, I wanted to make something that people could make either with just a fork. You could actually, mix the butter with just a fork if you don't have a hand mixer. A stand mixer does make everything very easy, but it is not something that everybody has. So yes, I would use a hand mixer if I was doing something a little bit more complicated than
I
this.
was asking about the stand one.
Do you have one?
Yes, I do.
Then you could absolutely do this right into your stand mixer without having to worry about the hand mixer. But not everybody has one, so I didn't want to use one today.
I have one.
Thanks. Thanks, Matthew. Great question. Thanks for sharing, Carly. Let's hop over
You're
to
welcome.
Aaron. Go ahead, Aaron. What's your question for Paula?
Well, actually, I'm just gonna call her Martha Stewart because she reminds me of her just a little bit though and
Oh,
everything else.
thank you.
Well, I also do a lot of cooking myself though. This one recipe I just did like 2 days ago is called tater tot hot dish, and it has like a whole bunch of stuff in it though, but it's really good. It's got veggies, it's got meat, it's got a little bit of everything, and then all you do is you throw your tater tots right up on top, and once you do that, you throw it in for like say for 15 to 20 minutes, and it comes out golden brown, but really
Sounds
juicy.
delicious.
I made those, and then I made some ribs last week, and then I also like made I made some chicken though out of my air fryer. I have an air fryer that I use, and I do a lot of good stuff and everything else. So, and sometimes if I have leftovers, I'll take my leftovers and I'll bring it to work, and some of it I'll just finish up over the weekend and everything else. So, but no, the other thing real quick though is you do a very good job with the ingredients and everything else though, because all of us here want to learn from you and everything else. So, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Let's go over to Brittany. We'll get to everybody. Don't worry. Go ahead, Britt.
Can I have the copy of the recipe?
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, Debbie can send it to all of us.
Yeah, she sends it to Debbie.
Yeah.
I've already sent it to Debbie, so she's already ready to send it to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
good,
We just
yeah,
wanted
that
to
way I
be a
can learn
surprise what Paula was making today, so we held off a little. Thanks for asking, Brittany. That's great. Natasha, let's go to you next. What's your question?
So Paula, fantastic job for presenting your marvelous presentation. And also, just let you know, what about if someone is actually allergic to banana bread? I mean, are there any healthier options instead of someone being allergic to the wheat or the bananas?
That's an excellent question. There are all different kinds of allergies. If you have allergies to wheat, then you're going to have to use a different kind of flour. I don't have a recipe for wheat-free banana bread, but I'm sure they're on the internet. If you're allergic to bananas, you could also then you could substitute. You could use shredded carrots, or you could use shredded zucchini, or you could use applesauce, or you could use pumpkin.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So those are four things you could use besides bananas.
Great. Thank you so much. That was a great question. I love some of the comments coming through the chat. It looks like Matthew wants to invite you back, Paula, so you can teach us how to make pasta and meatballs with red sauce. So we've got an
Ooh.
invitation
Oh
back
boy.
already. Thanks, Matthew.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy to make though. It's not that hard to
Yeah, that
make.
is
No,
really.
sometimes it is
That
more
is easy
I
to
difficult.
bet
make.
Paula's got her own special way, you guys.
That
All
might take
right.
more than that might
Actually,
take
pasta
more than what we
meatballs
can
is
do here in
very
a Zoom,
difficult
but
to do.
Yeah.
Actually, how about homemade pasta with meatballs?
Well,
It's
sometimes it
more.
is
I
difficult to
actually have an
do.
excellent recipe for turkey meatballs.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I
that
that's
makes
like
me
my
ground
hungry.
beef
favorite.
That are
better.
really
That makes me
good,
hungry.
but you
Thank
do
you.
need to have a food processor.
I like the ground beef better,
I do too, but sometimes, turkey's a little better for you, so I try to.
especially if you're vegan.
Oh, that sounds good.
But I'm not vegan.
Turkey's not vegan, so don't worry about it, Matthew.
Well, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Robin, did you have a question for Paula?
I actually had a comment for Paula. Paula, I just wanted to say on behalf of Special Olympics Connecticut how grateful we are for your grant. I am a huge proponent of I can't even say it. Athlete leadership, and I know the importance for reasons I can't get into yet. It's confidential, but I know the importance of leaving a legacy, and leaving a legacy for people who you deeply, deeply care about. And I just wanted to say to you and your father, Julian, we couldn't be more grateful for that grant. And maybe one day we could have you come to our conference and see, pun intended, see the fruits of your labor.
That
So
would
I
be
just
Yeah, what a good
We should
idea.
invite. Actually, we should
wanted to say
invite
thank
her
you on behalf of
to our
people
meeting
at
though, so she
Athens.
can bring some recipes there, so
Yeah,
she can
Yeah.
make some
I think
stuff
it's a good
though.
idea, Deb.
So
Absolutely.
we
I
can
know
have a
that
good
she
huge feast.
Yeah, I know that Paula can't join us on May 3rd, but we have our November training day coming up. So we hope
Maybe
that
that one.
Paula can
Oh,
join us for that. And Julian too. We'd love to have you both there. So
Yeah.
you have a
I might
standing
be in
invitation to
Disney
all our
World in
events.
November.
And Julian, if you're available May 3rd, please feel
Yes.
free to join us for our athlete leadership
Thank you.
speaker series because the donation by Paula and Adam is what endowed this speaker series that will live on for many years to come.
Good to
So
know that.
Yeah, we've got some great speakers. We have our keynote's going to be a fellow and his son who's involved in Special Olympics, who's done some presentations for Best Buddies nationally, and he's just going to really
I've been to Best
inspire
Buddies.
some fun. And we also have two athletes coming from our Special Olympics Illinois organization chapter. So we're thrilled that they're able to come. So kind of our peers, our fellow athlete leaders from a different state. So we're just so delighted to have them, and you're making that all possible. So Robin, I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much. I don't think any of us could have, so that was tremendous. Let's go over to Kimberly.
From
What's your
Illinois, they're friends of mine.
great?
Well, actually, I'm actually in the athlete league too with them, so I see them on the Zoom calls. For the
Me
athlete league.
too. Me too. I did
Great.
one last week with them.
Yeah. So
Great.
yeah, for me,
Yeah.
it's like I really appreciate all the healthy cooking that you do, and I actually work at a bakery in Glastonbury, around by Creations, and they do like a lot of stuff like treats and stuff, and the best part is like I'm actually behind the scenes, and sometimes they let me to help. And the best part about for a Special Olympics is like we also do a USA cooking classes, and that's with the USA interns with Dr. Melissa Brown, and they also encourage healthy eating. So ties into like what you made too. I
That
mean,
sounds great.
yeah, it's with the My Plate and you use every single one of them, which I really recommend a lot.
Thank you.
Excellent. Dan Whiting, yes, you have a question next.
I got a question I may ask you. When I was in A1 high school, I was in cooking class, and we make a banana bread, and it tastes so good. It's tasty, but it was so good. You are a good cook. I'm impressed.
I'm glad you enjoyed your banana bread too. I'm sure it was delicious.
Thank you.
So much, Dan. Okay, I see Megan, and then we'll go to John. Go ahead, Megan.
So I'm actually learning how to cook right now. So when I live on my own, I'm going to learn how to cook. And I make banana bread before. And I have an idea, Paula, for next time. You know, Mike Mason to hear this, and so is Christy. If you can make cookies for us for the in Bristol, like the Civics logo.
I would be happy to make cookies.
Can you make it for the Special Olympics logo? Because we have a training in May 3rd, so you can do that.
No,
Or
she's not able
brownies,
to
my
come.
I'm going to
suggestion.
be here on May 3rd, but otherwise I would have loved to.
Megan, maybe we
maybe you
should make
can
dessert
cookies for
and
her.
send it to Paula.
Exactly. I was just thinking the
Either
same
way,
thing,
I'm just saying.
Chrissy.
Crowd.
Megan, if
we
you
can
had
make
to bake cookies for Paula, what kinds of cookies would you make for her?
I'll make chocolate chip or brownies.
Ooh.
What about peanut butter? Because peanut butter is really
Yeah, I go for the peanut butter.
But I don't know
yeah.
if people are allergic to peanut butter, so that's why I'm afraid about
Some
that.
people like peanut butter.
What do you
I
think,
say
Paula?
all
What
women
kind would
say
you like
peanut butter.
best?
My favorite are chocolate chip cookies, but
Oh,
I
that
also
sounds good.
make
Good.
I also like to make blondies, which are brownies that don't have chocolate in
Oh,
them.
those
I
are good.
love
Yeah.
Yeah,
Laggies.
see,
Yes,
I used
yes.
to know when I was working, they just they make a lot of those along with cupcakes.
Paula, I found out at my job that one of our directors was making empanadas,
Oh,
which I never had before.
Yeah, those are good.
Those do not
Those are
fall
really
into
good.
the dessert category, but they are delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
Speaking
are.
of delicious, well, speaking of deliciousness, like where I work, they do like cobblers, they do baked goods because they're really famous for their cinnamon buns.
Ooh, I love cinnamon buns.
Oh, those are good for breakfast.
There's a
Yeah,
place that
He's good.
Okay, I see a
Let's let
couple more
John ask
hands
his
up.
question. He's been
Yeah,
very
let's,
patient.
yes.
So, John
okay.
Thanks,
Brillante.
Mike.
Got it.
Good.
I I have a question. What about if you're allergic to nuts and you're allergic to the coconut?
You
Is
can just
there
skip them.
is there something you could put in it like to replace them?
There is something you could put in it to replace them, which would
Hmm.
make it a little less healthy, but the solution to not being able to put nuts in coconut is to put in chocolate chips.
Cool. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Great question. Let's go to Carrie next. Go ahead, Carrie. Just unmute yourself there. Could you unmute? Just press that little microphone in the corner of your screen. Is Misha there? Maybe she can help you. Oh, there you go, Carrie. Go ahead.
Mommy made cookies. She makes cookies with her mom.
Oh, what kind of
Yes.
cookie?
Yeah, mommy made
What do you put in them, Carrie? What kind of cookies are they?
chocolate chips.
Oh, my favorite.
Oil bread.
Yeah, they made a lot of cookies Christmas time together.
Yeah.
Bet they're
Excellent.
delicious.
Yes.
Matt Glad has been very patient raising his hand.
That's
Go
me,
for
right?
it, Matt. Go
Good
for it.
job.
So Hey, I have a condo by myself, and I've been making up in New Hampshire chocolate chip cookies, and I'm gonna give the cookies to the first responders that helped us get our condo back, and I'm also gonna give the cookies to the fire department and the police department for a big thank you.
That's very
That's nice of
generous.
you, Matt.
What a great idea.
Yeah. Paula, can we do something like this for a fundraiser if we do cooking with you? Like give to the people?
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Allie. And Matthew, we'll go to you next, and then we'll see if anybody who hasn't asked a question would like to ask one because we're coming up on 10 of 5, and I want to make sure everybody gets a chance. So go ahead, Matthew, and then we'll scan the room.
hey, Paula, I have something else to ask. I was also thinking if you could teach us how to make pasta meatball pizza.
That's out of
Interesting.
my category. That's out of my repertoire. I'm sorry. I don't know how to make that. You can have to teach me how to make it.
There you go.
And you
Thanks,
make
Matthew.
the pizza and add the pasta meatballs to it. That's a really fatty pizza.
I bet.
Sounds interesting, Matt.
Thank you. Let's go over to Abby. She's got her hand up. Thanks, Abby. Go ahead.
I'm in a meeting.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for your donation to the speaker series.
You're welcome.
And Debbie forgot to say that I'm one of the speakers at our training in May.
Yes, forgive me, Abby. I was just thinking of the people coming out of town, but absolutely. Abby is going to present a breakout session on, well, you want to tell her. Why don't you tell her what you're talking about?
Injury
Me
prevention.
too. Yeah, me too. Because
That's an excellent subject. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss it.
And my mom bakes an oatmeal thing with bananas in it for breakfast.
That sounds delicious.
Oh, it is.
Excellent. Is there anybody on the call who hasn't asked a question but would like to? Raise your hand now. I just want to make sure everybody has a chance. Albert, go ahead, Albert, and then John Fraser, and then Ryan. Go ahead, Albert.
Paula, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? What's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish? Wow, that's a hard question. My favorite things are actually all things that are made with yeast. So I like cinnamon buns, I like bread, rolls. I make these rolls that have a lot of dill and onion in them that I make every Thanksgiving.
Yum.
I like all things with yeast. Like a yeast donut. Yeah, that's amazing.
I am trying to stay clear of those because, just so you know, because I'm a coach for Special Olympics. I am trying to stay clear, no bread at all, because I am trying to be
I'm in a meeting.
I'm a bit,
The
more
meeting doesn't get
to
till
all of
5.
you.
Okay, let's go to John Fraser. He had his hand up next. Go ahead, John. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself there, John, so we can hear you. Yay.
I got a question for Mike.
Mike's not the baker.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't
Mike,
get
did
till
you get
5.
my voicemail today?
It's time to get out.
I have not. So, but now's not the time to talk about that, John. So I will
Yep.
check the voicemail and I'll call you back.
And I want to
thanks.
thank Paula too.
You're welcome.
Thank you, John. All right, let's go over to Ryan next. Ryan Pajoli, you're up.
My goodness.
Oh, can't hear you, Ryan. Do you want to turn up your volume, maybe? Uh-oh, where's your
Sorry,
audio?
Ryan, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can type it into the chat, or Gail can type it into the chat for us.
Brian Petroli, do you hear me?
I think he could hear us,
Ryan.
but yeah, we can't hear him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aw. Brian, yeah, if you can type it in the chat or send us an email, we'll get your question over to Paula. I'm sorry we can't hear you right now. All right, we'll try to circle back, okay? Let's see. Okay, Megan, go ahead.
So Paula, I made dinner last night, and I made meatloaf with cheese and
I'm having meatloaf tonight.
chicken noodles.
That sounds delicious. Was
I
it
actually
good?
made it myself.
Was it delicious?
It is good, and my mom was on the side of me and made sure that everything correct.
Wow, you should be proud of yourself.
I'm learning how to cook, but I'm a little afraid of the oven, but I'm trying to get used to that.
That's what
You have to be careful with the oven.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes left. Is there anybody who has not asked a question but would like to? I just want to make sure everybody has a chance.
And
Anybody have?
I just, could
Yeah.
I don't, and Paula, this is up to you, but I don't know if you'd like to tell the athletes, the global messengers on this call, a little about your mom and what made you decide to be so generous with us and support the Sarah Bader Athlete Leadership Resource Center in the new building, as well as the speaker series. I'm sure they would all love to hear about your mom if you would like to say something.
Sure. So my mom was a speech therapist in Connecticut for much of her career, and she worked in a lot of in schools, helping students who had speech and language challenges. And she spent much of her career working in the Branford public school system. So if any of you went to Branford schools and had a speech therapist some time ago, probably your older brothers and sisters or family members.
Good luck, Matt.
She was a speech therapist in the Branford public school system for many years, and she worked with students in all different age groups. So it was from elementary school all the way through high school. And she always donated to the Special Olympics. And when she passed away, she left some money to me. And I knew that the Special Olympics Connecticut was an important cause that she believed in. And so I decided to use the money that my mom gave me to donate to this cause.
Very thoughtful of you. Very nice.
Because it wasn't really my money. I felt like it was her money. And I felt like I wanted to do something that she would have wanted to do with it. So it's really from her, but it's from me too.
We're all.
She must be very proud of you.
You know, my dad is proud of me.
You had a very nice father.
We really are thankful for you guys for doing this for athlete leadership, because we're all into speaking about the Special Olympics mission and trying to include inclusion, and that's a great opportunity for you guys.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're all of us, I mean, I know the Global Messengers especially, but all the staff, we're so grateful. And we're grateful to have your dad. I know your dad, the athletes don't know, but Julian, Dr. Bader, was a doctor in the emergency room at Waterbury Hospital. Is that correct?
Yes.
And has lived in Camden for many years, very close to our building where we are now. So we're just very grateful, and I
Deborah, hi Michelle, Deborah, hey Cindy. Okay, hi Susie too. Oh, you push me that.
Well, I don't think we could have ended on a better note, and with more fitting and beautiful words. And I think it's been a sweet treat to have Paula and Julian join us today, as well as Mike and Christy. But Paula and Julian, I think you heard directly from everybody here today. Our heart is full. We are so grateful for your kindness, your generosity, and you're officially now members of our family. So we couldn't be more thrilled to have you as members of our family, and we look forward to seeing you. And Jake just joined us, so say hi to Paula, Jake.
Hi, Paula.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. This was a great call. We had over 30 people on the call today. Thank you for everybody for coming together, and thank you especially for Paula and Julian. We will be sending out that recipe, so hopefully everybody can try it and let Paula know how delicious it is.
Yeah, Paula.
Thank you, Paula.
Pleasure.
Spaghetti and meatball pizza, no pressure.
You too, Mr. Peter.
Work on it. Thank you all. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye. See you next week.
Soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a great
Yes.
meeting. Yep.